Welcome to a lesson where we will learn how to handle invisible columns over a view. But first, we have to see and know how invisible columns act on a regular table. So, for our example, we're going to create a table named just table with invisible columns, and it's going to have three columns: the ID, the row description, and the hidden description, which is going to be defined as invisible. So when we create that table and try to describe it, only two columns are going to be presented over there. And when we try to insert the data into that column with a short form, so when we insert only the values without defining the columns in which we insert the data, this statement is going to fail, as the engine recognizes this as passing in too many values, as in too many columns, as it sees only two of those. Of course, if I would remove the last one, this command would work, as we do not have the not null constraint on the invisible column, so our row has been inserted. But we can insert rows into the table with invisible columns only when we also define into which columns the values go. So in my second insert, I'm inserting one row, and I'm also defining those columns. As we can see, the hidden description column is also present over here. And this command is gonna work just fine. Now, if we try to query from that table, if we use the wildcard, as in fetch all of the columns from that table, that query is just gonna return two columns which are not invisible. But if I define the column names, as you can see in second select statement, I'm also putting in the hidden description, we're gonna fetch all three columns from that table. Very nice. So now to the creation of a view over that table that has invisible columns. So to create a view that outputs also invisible columns is practically the same as with a regular view creation statement. We define in our select list, including the column which has the invisible property, to show the content of that columns from the select statement over a view. So when I created that view and try to query it with the wildcard, we should get all three columns returned. As you can see, three columns have been returned by using the wildcard over the view. However, if I used the wildcard in the select statement of a view, so let's recreate that view, and try to fetch the data over a view, we're gonna get only two rows returned, right? Let's return our view to the previous state, so it also displays the invisible column, and let's try to describe that view. As you can see, we got also presented our invisible column from the table. Very nice. So now you can see how we can use views to present also columns that have invisible property assigned to them. For example, if we have some roles for some our users, we grant access to that user over a view, and he can see those hidden columns. Practice this out, and see you in the next lesson.